afternoon, everybody. We are here on our first podcast. My name is Neil Nichols. The name of our show is Elevated Health and Wellness. And my name is Neil Nichols. This beside me, beautiful lady, is Tony Brown. And then we have Daryl on the end there.
Daryl Doobie Warden, what's up, family?
It is awesome, good to have you here. We are part of a group that one of the key things what we're doing, how we actually all got together. We started a little bit in my company, which Full Body Balance. We all met there in our store, and with that, we brought in a line of products called Common Sense. And with Common Sense products, it has changed our lives, not only with what the product itself, the flagship is called BrainSense, but one of the key things in what this did, it came with also a lifestyle. And what we're going to talk about is not only things that in our lives, to kind of bring to the table what's different, what's changed, and how these products can integrate in your everyday lives and elevate it to be the best of what we all want to be in our lives. So,
Absolutely.
Talk about a little bit of how we met and what's different, and just all what's happening right now.
Yeah, so much is different. I came in here looking for a better vitamin. I needed to change. I was going through a hormonal fluctuation, and I came in and I tried the products. I was very skeptical. And I felt so different that I came back for more. And then I heard about the opportunity. And as you were telling me, I was thinking, please offer me this opportunity. And I jumped right on it, because I knew once I tried it, that was the only product that I would be on.
Yeah. So let's talk about that product. I'm going to go over to you, Daryl, before we go.
First, let me introduce myself.
Yes, please.
My name is Daryl Doobie Warden. I am from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I lived in Miami. I lived in New York. I used to work in the music business. Also, I was one of the co-owners of the largest Black-owned insurance agency in the country for over 10 years. And then I was enjoying my retirement. And then I came across these BrainSense, first with my brother Neil. He introduced me to the BrainSense, and I thought this was something I definitely needed to get behind because I seen how it helped me. Not only helped me, it helped my son who has ADHD. It helped him focus. It helped him direct his thoughts. He began to articulate himself so much better. I said, this stuff works. So that's why I'm here, and I'm bringing it to the people.
Well, that's the key thing, in health and wellness. For myself, we have a wellness center, so we manufacture products to help natural. Our theme is 100% natural. Everything in our store is natural. So what I wanted to do for years, we searched for a supplement line that I felt not only the products should work, but it should be a basis where you have a baseline that everyone can get involved and take this. I had a personal experience myself. For 15 years, I suffered from depression.
Wow.
I didn't know what depression was, especially as later years going through a divorce. You go from being, where you thought who you were to you're just in the survival mode all the time.
Absolutely.
And just dealing with that.
Yes, some military experience as well, right?
Military, got out the military. A lot of things. A lot of people don't realize that you don't have to go through war to deal with PTSD and anxiety and so forth. Just being deployed overseas and being a high alert all the time situation. It's a big transition when you have to come back in and deal with not being on high alert all the time. A lot of military people go through that, especially if I was stationed in Korea. There wasn't any wars, but we were on constant high alert.
Right.
You have people that on ships that are in constant high alert. There's so many things that people come back. Oh, you weren't in war. You're not in PTSD. No, it is. That's crazy. It doesn't need to be a war. Yeah, it doesn't need to be a war though.
Can I elaborate a little bit on that?
Please. That's why
that PTSD. my brother who was in Afghanistan, he was in Kuwait during wartime. He came back with that PTSD,
Yeah.
and he said something interesting to me. He said, because he said, I see the same traits, the PTSD in myself, you have it as well. And he said that I had PTSD from growing up where I grew up. And I think it's, I had some when I was younger, I had a situation with the police. So for years, even now to this day, when I get in the car, I have some fear of, like, if I'm going to come home as a Black man, am I going to come home to see my family again just for driving to the grocery store? And that stays with me, unfortunately, through my life. And I can think back how long that's been happening to me. How much has that taken away from my life?
Yeah.
Right.
And that's one of the key things. So going into the wellness business now, I had to deal with, we went from a kiosk, went into 2 stores, went to 3 stores. I was still going through depression. So I had to show up every day with this fakeness of who I was, masking who I was. And with that, I turned to things that helped me mask it. That wasn't good for my health.
Right.
We know alcohol has damaged a lot of lives. I was using it because it was suppressing what I thought that I didn't know what I have. And then up until 3 years ago, when I started researching and looking for things to help me, I went naturally look for CBD, ashwagandha, all these things that I was trying to figure out what to help with my depression, because I was getting mad of being depressed. I was getting mad of not being happy. Although everybody around me was happy and I was making everybody else happy, there was just that void. Then come along, friend introduced us to, Gio introduced us to BrainSense. First it was the coffee, actually. I tried the coffee, which I'm actually having right here. And one of the key things when I was drinking that coffee, I noticed my mood change after half a cup.
Yes. Yeah.
I was up.
Definitely.
I was upbeat. I had completed all my tasks. I was multitasking. It was just like, wow. Now,
if you drink it before the gym as well.
It just gave me a boost in everything. I didn't even finish the cup, and I was saying to myself, man, I gotta get more coffee. I'm a coffee connoisseur. Coming from Jamaica, the Blue Mountain coffee is
Blue Mountain coffee in Jamaica.
I'm a coffee snob, so. I tried this and I was just like, oh my gosh, I had to get more. Now, the backstory to that is that he took Gio, when you brought the supplement, he was like, Neil, you really got to get this in your store. And I was like, yeah, whatever. Well, he gave it to my staff, and then the staff gave it to me. But it was almost 6 months that Gio's been coming to me with this.
Right.
I tried the coffee. It literally blew my mind. Okay, I was like, literally, how's this working? And I remember, because he walks the mall, and I remember he was walking by, and I was like, Gio, I gotta get this coffee.
He recently told that story.
And so I screamed out. He brought it. He said, "Hey." So I explained to him what it did for me, and he was like, "Hey, maybe you want to try BrainSense. It's our flagship product." And I was like, "What is BrainSense?" And BrainSense, when he was telling me about it, he was like, "It's something that I've been taking for over 3 years now. That it's a nootropic formula that micronutrites all the minerals that the brain needs and missing." Now, interestingly enough, I was like, okay, fine, I'll try it. If the coffee is this good, let me try it. I remember I ordered my pack. He talked to me a little bit about the business side, and I was like, that to me was secondary at the time, because I was just starving for something to help me with what I was going through.
Right.
And I said, yeah, that'll come. Just let me try this. It was a money back guarantee. I was like, what do I have to lose? I tried everything else. I remember my pack came. I had finished up at the mall at 8. I got home close to 9. I opened it. I took 2. I looked at the instructions. I was like, I know my body. I tried 2. I drank it. I had dinner, and it was about close to 10. I was coming from the bathroom in the hallway. I looked at my wife, and my brain just went.
Wow.
It was just it stopped me in my tracks. I literally just stopped, and I was like, Jesse, there's something going on here. I feel totally different. It was
Right.
like I could see colors brighter. My just everything changed. Where it was just like the light bulb came on, and I went from an incandescent to an LED in brightness.
Amen.
Right,
Yes.
right.
Yes,
So
my brother.
that was going on 11 months now.
Okay.
Ago. So after doing that and experiencing, I remember I worked out the most I ever worked out that night because I was so alive. I woke up happy. I took two more. My entire day changed. And the last time I had a depression episode, I ran out of brain sense. That was 3 months ago.
Wow.
Yeah, it
Tony,
really makes a
tell us
difference.
a little bit about your experience with the brain sense.
Yeah.
So, but first, a little bit about yourself.
Okay, well, my name is Tony Kosa Brown. I am from Brentwood. I grew up here, and I'm
Brentwood in the
That's
house.
right. That's right.
We're in Pennsylvania.
In
So for everybody,
Pennsylvania.
PA.
Pittsburgh is where you'd say we're from. But
Ian's from.
so when I came in to get the product, I also was struggling with PTSD, which you didn't know, and being on the Brain Sense helped me with that. And we've never really talked about that, how I was struggling with PTSD. I kind of kept that private, but it was very, very bad. And it was debilitating. And there was depression with it. There was a lot with it. And I had been depressed before. I was depressed for 3 years straight. So
Wow.
this all happened before.
Being a mother and working.
Right. It was hard. I mean, I have 5 children. And again, there's the period where it was over 10 years of nursing or being pregnant continuously.
Yeah.
So that
can take a toll on the body as well.
It took a huge toll on my body and my mental, and then having a 5-year break and having another one, and then having a divorce on top of that. So when I came to you to get the products, I was in a place of transition, just looking for something. And then as I stayed on the Brain Sense, like everything changed. It is a whole lifestyle change is what it is. It's a whole lifestyle change. And I felt happier. And looking back, I can realize that I was more depressed than I was letting on.
Mhm.
And I was really suffering so much more. And I feel like a completely different person now, like a completely different person. And the things that women struggle with are very different than men. And if we can get the complete, everybody being balanced, then, that will just make a better home. It'll just make it better for the community. And it's just so much better. And I was really struggling. And like I said, I never told anybody.
Now, how did it help you when you have so many tasks? You're on a board. You do several activities with your kids. You were doing homeschooling. So how did this help you doing all of that? Because your day is pretty much packed from 6 in the morning until like 3 a.m.
Yeah, right. I got like 3 hours off. So my day starts with the Java Sense, because that's what I do now. Is thank God for the Java Sense. I take it. I don't even
Which is
mix
a coffee.
it.
Yeah.
It's a coffee. It's a coffee. It comes in a stick. I mix it with water. I shake it and I drink it straight.
Yeah.
And that's how I start my day. And that really, once it kicks in within a few minutes, I feel different. I'm ready. I'm ready to go with the kids and get them going. And then back to the Brain Sense, I was so scattered. I didn't realize how scattered I was until I wasn't. Like everything was here and it came back to here.
And you were skeptical at first.
Oh, I was so skeptical. I'm like, no.
And what's funny about this, because I called the next day my manager, I said, listen, this is crazy. This was an hour after I took it. And not everybody responds like this to it.
Yeah, I can't wait to tell my story.
So I called her and she was like, oh, you're full of it. She was like, I was like, listen to me. I said, I'm being very serious here. And she was like, okay. So about a month went by. She saw me in the Brain Sense. And she was just like, wow, Neil, you are different. You're focused. You're happy. I break down at times in tears, not because I'm unhappy. I break down in tears because I'm like, this is so surreal.
Right. And you were so unhappy
before.
Right.
That now I'm just like.
You didn't know you were that unhappy.
I know. And,
right.
and so I'm just like, wow. I'm just like, man, this is really, you feel your body.
Right.
It's the first time you have something where it's not just when you're mentally sound in that area, you find solutions instead of finding the sorrow in it. whatever it is, you find the solution and happily find it. And I can't explain when you're happy, you transition from doing things that's not going to make you happy.
Yeah.
I went from, because I was drowning my sorrows and doing something, about a month and a half, going in 2 months after taking brain, I stopped drinking because I
Wow.
didn't need to. I was happy. I literally did not need to. When you wake up happy, there's things that, and how they know that this is what's happening, how BrainSense came about, because after talking with the owner of Common Sense and going through and doing the research, BrainSense has been on the market for over 35 years. It was only available to the ultra rich and the movie stars, basically. And when it started out, how this started was because of animals,
Oh wow, I didn't know
I
that.
never
the
heard
mineral
that.
deficiency.
Oh.
So pigs, what had happened was there was a gentleman that the story what I did was a gentleman that was losing his family because of mental illness, but just so happened to work for a manufacturer that was manufacturing minerals for animals. There's a disease that they call pig biting. Pigs would bite ears because they would get more aggressive and they would um, just go crazy because they were just mineral deficient.
Mhm.
So they started making minerals for these animals, and because this gentleman was losing, he's like, "Well, why don't we try this for humans?" So every most of our diseases come back to being mineral deficient. So once they gave the animals the minerals, they were just back to being happy pigs and happy doing their thing. They weren't aggressive anymore. And what's so funny, after he told me that story, I watch a lot of animal shows with my kids.
Right.
Animals lick salt or do things to naturally get minerals. So you see goats, they climb the mountains.
They climb the mountains and
They're licking the
rocks, yep.
rocks. They're
Right.
getting
Yep.
minerals. Elephants, they push their snout down into the mud
Nut.
and bubble it up
Mm.
to gather
To
to
get
get
minerals.
minerals.
Yes.
We, especially in our American diet, are malnutrition from 12 basic minerals. And if you don't have the minerals in your body, you're not going to maintain the nutrient. So, right off the bat, in our societal epidemic, we are malnutrition when it comes to minerals.
Completely.
Completely.
In
So,
a huge deficit.
what BrainSense brings to the table, unlike anything else out there, it's that it's micronutrition. So they do a chelation process where it's broken down to get past the blood-brain barrier very quickly.
Mhm.
And because of that, with all the essential minerals you have in it, your brain is going to get that, absorb it in a fashion that, unlike 98% of
Right.
the vitamins and vitamins that are out there.
Right.
Right.
And that's what makes it different. Now, when the brain is, now they're saying, well, how does that make you happy? Okay. Well, when the brain is mineralized and have the right nutrition, it's going to do what it's supposed to. It's like running an engine that should be running on synthetic oil and you give it, used oil. It's going to, run very inefficient. Well, when the brain is mineralized, it's going to give you what it's supposed to. And that's the master organ for the body. How is it going to feed the body when it itself is running and lacking in minerals? So that's, people are like, well, how does that make you happy? Well, if it's going to do its job. It's going to
Right.
balance your hormones. It's going to help other parts of the brain. And you feel that.
Yeah.
I don't know if this makes sense to you. I am feeling my body
Yeah.
Mhm.
It does.
because
Everything's fun again. Everything is like, it's like you're a young person again. You feel
Yeah.
Yeah.
like you're starting over.
I would love to
And-
hear your story.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I came out here, I talked to Neil.
Mhm.
Neil said, I got this product. You love it. This is Brain Sense. I went to his upstairs store, got the Brain Sense. I took it for the first, I think, 2 or 3 days. And I called you and I said, oh, this doesn't work. So he said, I think you said try 2. I was on the phone with you and Gio.
Yeah. Mhm.
Try 2.
Mhm.
Took 2. Next day, I get up. I have a daily routine. I get up and I read the Bible before I go to the gym. So as I'm reading, and usually it's like 1 or 2 pages of the Bible, I start to like drift off mentally. And it's like I start to feel like a little bit tired.
Mhm.
So this particular day, I'm reading this Bible and I'm just like normal, not even noticing what's happening. As I'm reading, my mind is translating the Bible to what it means to me. What these words on this page meant in my life in real time. Before I know it, I was like 15 pages in. You know the story.
Oh my
I was
goodness.
15 pages into the Bible, remembering because I just was so excited. And I said, oh my God,
Yeah.
this brain sense is working.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
Yeah.
And that feeling it gave me. So now I'm up to 4 a day. I take 4 a day.
I'm up to 4 a day
in
also.
the morning.
Yeah.
It gets me going. It gets me motivated.
Yes.
It's and I'm reading more. It's helping me get to that. I had that cloudiness.
Yes.
Right.
And it's just from the world that we live in. We got so many things on us, our kids, our home bills,
Electronics.
electronics that are
Devices.
that
Yes.
fog up our
Wi-Fi.
brain.
Yes.
And those things, it just like dissipated from me. I felt it.
Yeah.
And I was like, I gave some to so many people, to friends, and they have, people have to really take it to understand.
Yeah. It's not the norm.
Yeah, it's not the
the
norm.
norm of what I went through or what.
And I've taken other now for me, I've taken Focus Factor. Didn't do anything for me. There was another one, Nivea, Nariva. I've taken that as well because I know I live a busy life. I have a busy lifestyle.
Yeah, you do.
I have a lot going on. So those things like that, I needed that. I knew I needed something.
Right.
I didn't know it was this brain sense.
Yeah.
And this stuff works. I take it daily. So let me go on to my son. So I have a son that at the time he was 17 when he started taking this. It was unreal what happened. He was taking one. Within 3 days, he says, "Dad, I feel different." And he took him while he was on a break from school. Like he started on like a Friday and then Saturday, Sunday. And they had Monday off, and he could not wait to go to school.
Yeah.
This is the first teenager could not wait to go to school because he really wanted to show off his brain.
Oh, he's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
He's
He
amazing.
wanted to show off his brain.
Yeah.
And to talk to him today,
Yeah.
he was
Wow.
with us yesterday. He helped us set up all this
Awesome.
equipment.
Yeah.
He's amazing.
Yeah.
He's amazing.
And he actually, I did a commercial for this product on my own. My son wrote the commercial. He wrote the commercial because that's how much he believes in it. And remember, we're coming from a teenager with ADHD. He had trouble focusing. He's been in therapy probably since he was 12 years old. He's been going to therapy. And he said, besides anything else, besides the therapy, he said this helped him more than the therapy because he actually started to see what his problems were.
Yeah.
He started to see what the things that were holding him back, the things that would pull him away from the things he was doing. Now, I mean, to talk to him is a totally different person. And I have an 8-year-old who started taking Brain Sense on Saturday. So I can't wait to see what his, and he's a little smarty too.
You know what's cool about this is that we have a product that can every member of the household should be on and can take.
And how old is?
That's where I was gonna.
Okay.
So after about 2 months, going on 3 months of starting Brain Sense, I called. I text Dr. Brady, one of the doctors in Common Sense, and I said, "Hey, what are the ages of where we start off with Brain Sense?" And he was like, "First of all, I'm not. This is a supplement. This is what's supposed to." And he went through with what it is, and he said, because of the micronutrition and how this is built, from the ages of 1 all the way up to from the cradle to the grave. You start off with 1 per age, 2 per day, 3 per up 4, and then after 4, the age of 4, you basically can go to what a normal person would be. Because
okay.
So I was like, okay. I was like, cool, because I started reading and going more because we're in a Facebook group where people come on and literally leave their live testimonies on
Yes, if
for
you
this.
yes,
For
there's
I was
so
just
many
So I
testimonies.
went through it. I went through all the testimonials, all the personal things. Went down and I saw that this family had started off their son at a younger age who was autistic. So I was like, okay, we have something here. So I started him on one capsule.
Mhm.
Okay, I was actually giving him. You can open the capsule.
How was Ashton at the
He
time?
was just turning 2.
Just turning 2.
I was
Okay.
turning 2, so I started him on the half in the morning, half capsule. So I would just empty half, give him in his morning. At the time, he was drinking his morning milk, so I would put it in his bowl, shake it up, drink it, and then at night, right before bed, I would give him the other half. Right, just pour it in his. He has his nightly milk before he goes to bed. About 3 days after, because he wasn't sleeping through the night a lot, he wouldn't have a nighttime routine. Whatever we do, he was up to late, just never had a routine. About 3 days after, he was like, okay, I'm going to bed. I was like,
On his own.
On his own.
Wow.
I was like, okay, all right, cool. I documented that.
Of course you did.
He wasn't fully talking at the time.
Mhm.
It wasn't. He was still just. It wasn't fully talking, and not that we had a problem with anything with speech or anything, but he wasn't fully talking at the time. And when we started it, about a week after getting him and staying with the routine, he just came out one day and was like, "Hey, Dad, blah blah blah," and this and this and that. And I was like, "What?"
I remember when this happened. That's what I'm like.
I was
I
like,
remember
what?
when you called us.
I was like,
said this
what did
happened.
you just say? He was like, now it's going on about, so it's going on about 8 months, 9 months. I have a teenager.
You do.
My wife coined it.
A teenager.
I
That's
have a
good one.
teenager. I have a 2-year-old that takes shower by himself.
Yeah.
Okay, does articulate anything. When I'm home with him, I don't feel lonely because I have someone I can fully have
He
conversations.
talks on the
with.
conference calls. Comes on there. Says hi to everybody. Yes, he's awesome.
And
so
I think
cute.
a lot of people, when we go out and we interact, a lot of people think that this kid is like 5 or 6 years old. He's only 2. So when he does things that revert back to his age, they're like, and I said, yeah, he's 2. And they're like, what?
Right.
He's talking so well. And we're doing ABCs where he can count up to 10 now. He can, the change was more than significant to recognize that it was change.
Right.
Yes.
Because there's acceleration. Not that we don't have smart kids or anything, but we really and truly, I must tell you, we have a product that across the line from age 1 on up, that the entire family can take to experience what a brain that is nutrated.
Yes.
And have the elements that we need. And one of the coolest thing about with BrainSense, just in that one product, I have personally seen with the people that in our stores, we have over 60 people now on that product since we started, that regularly come in. We can't keep it in stock, and it's spreading and spreading and spreading. The lifestyle and the changes in their lives that we had to do this show because it's becoming now a societal change.
Yes.
It is.
But imagine if we have so many people on this brain sense being able to
Be happy.
move that brain fog,
Yeah.
to articulate their ideas,
Yes.
move on their ideas.
Right.
Tony, you said you started taking it, and for some reason you had the wherewithal to go ahead and start building a wall in your backyard.
I did.
You know, like you said, when you were hiring
I did.
somebody
Yeah.
for this,
Yeah.
and I've touched your brain sense, you look back there and say, I can do this myself.
Yeah,
Yes.
so
And
I
you started, and I see the wall.
I did.
It's
I
there, and it
did.
looks great.
So there was
Yes.
some plumbing work that was done years and years ago.
Yeah.
And it was supposed to be fixed, and well, it wasn't fixed. So I just finally just was out there, and now I'm listening to Eddie's videos. I'm
Yeah.
listening to the business videos too while I'm doing this. And I just, in the morning, I'd go out and do some business work, and then I was just in such a mood. I'm like, let me just go garden and fix the yard. So I built the wall. It looks like a New England wall, if you've seen those big heavy rocks.
Mhm.
And I just rebuilt it. And then I started building other side walls. I really just went nuts. And then I realized, I said, wait, I just picked up this heavy rock and just built a wall. What am I doing? What is going on? I'm outside in the sun having fun, and was just amazing.
It is sunshine.
I would never have done
I can see
that though.
clearly
Yeah,
now
yeah.
the rain.
But it was fun.
So this is our 30-minute segment. We can go on and on and on.
Okay.
We wanted to introduce our show and tell you what it's about. Elevated Health and Wellness. My name is Neil.
My name is Tony.
And I'm Daryl Doobie Warden.
And we're going to end the show today. And next week, we're going to pick up and talk about some other products. But we're going to dive into also the business side of it and why. But I just want to say, folks, thank you. And to thank you to Common Sense. This
Thank
product
you.
has changed.
Joe Mary, Gio, we love y'all.
Richard, thank you
Yes,
so
thank
much.
you.
And we will see you next week. Peace out.
Peace.